Welcome, everybody. This is the Hightlight podcast. I'm your host, Ron Carson. Today I have with me Tammie Foote. She is here running for District 3 Commissioner. If you've been keeping up with our series, we've been doing a introduction to candidates, kind of letting people know, who's running for office, why they're running. And today she's here to tell us her story. So thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Howard. Thank you for having me. Let me just say thank you for welcoming me to your platform to have this discussion.
No problem. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you.
I want to, before we jump into your campaign and politics, I want to, get to know a little bit about you. So tell me, where are you from and how'd you get here?
I'm originally from Athens, born and raised. I've been here all of my life. I went to Clark Middle and Clark Central.
Okay.
Glad. Yes. And then when I started to drive, I spent a lot of time in the East Athens community. And that's how we got here. That's how we got here. So
you grew up in Athens. How is like your family? Is your whole family from here? You have a big family, or what's?
Well, I had two brothers. One of my oldest brother, he passed away back in 2018. I have
Sorry
a younger brother and a sister, and I have two children.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And career-wise, what have you been since you've been here for more than 2 decades, or longer than that?
Well, for in May of this year, it'll be 26 years I've been working in social services.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you really get to see what Athens has to kind of sweep up and things like that.
Yes. And what I've learned in working in social services, people don't want you to have sympathy for them. They want you to have empathy, because when they come to you, they don't want you to feel sorry. They want you to understand what they're going through and to help them.
Right. Mm-hmm. Do you feel, what do you feel like that has kind of brought you to the space to do in the sense of addressing those people?
Well, in that sense, as you're talking about as far as being commissioner?
No, just when you were working in social services, what were some of the things that you seen in the community that just, amplified what the issues were? Or some of the issues that you saw?
Yes. So a lot of people, they did want to become self-sufficient and do things for themselves, but they just didn't have the resources or the know how to get to where they needed to get where they wanted to be. So with working in the social services realm, it gave me an opportunity to put them with the resources needed for them to become self-sufficient and, be able to take care of their families,
right,
and do things on their own.
What are some of those criteria? Just like, what resources would you take somebody to in order to kind of do those things to get their life together?
Well, it just depends on their situation, because everybody is not the same. What I learned is everybody's situation is not the same. You may have somebody who's dealing with mental health. You may have somebody who's just is jobless at the time and just looking for, some type of help to get that job, like resume writing or job leads or things of that nature. And if it's mental health, just being connected with the correct resources to deal with their mental health to become self-sufficient.
Okay. So we fast forward now. You're, what made you want to start a campaign to run for office as commissioner?
When I, as I stated, when I was 16, I spent a lot of time in East Athens, and back then, East Athens was thriving. We had when you talk about the Iron Triangle, there was a thriving restaurant, there was a thriving laundromat, there was a thriving barbershop. It was just East Athens was thriving. And so when I was able to purchase a home, it was during the time of redevelopment, because over the years, things had started to fade away. So when I decided to purchase a home, I decided to purchase a home in the East Athens community under the redevelopment for the area.
Right.
Well, over time, it never really picked up with the redevelopment. So things pretty much stayed the same. And representation after representation, nothing never really changed.
Right.
So I just decided, having the rapport, having some of the experience, and knowing how to deal with people, and knowing some of the resources, and I was engaged in some community activities as well, with one of the within East Athens. We're the group that some of the community members came to when there were issues.
Okay.
And so working with them and knowing what's going on in the neighborhood and the community, I figured, let me step up and be a voice for our community, because somebody has to do something at this time, because if not, the area is being gentrified at a vast rate, and if somebody don't do something, we're just going to disappear.
Right. Can understand that. I think I do want to start with one of the things we were talking about earlier. You talked about the Triangle Plaza, and just share with me what you feel. Is there anything that, they passed the decision to change the PD, the project development? Is there anything that you felt that just didn't make sense or should have been, readjusted or have more community input? Because I feel like that's another issue, Athens has, is that we have these issues and the city just makes quick decisions. It's like, how much public input is there? So from your side, what did you see in that project that could have been better? And what would you do as commissioner if you were, sitting at that table?
More public engagement in the decision. At the end of the day, it belongs to somebody. But if it's going to be conducive for the community, I think a conversation should have been had with the community as far as, what do you all want to see happen with this area? Yeah.
When you're looking at things, other things that just sparked your attention for what made you want to, build a campaign, what were the foundational things?
With East Athens being a marginalized community, there's a lot of funding that's coming into the community on the backs and in the name of that marginalized community, but the money, it never gets there to do what it's supposed to do for the area. Mm. So if nobody ever speaks up, it will never come to the area to do what needs to be done. Because during the redevelopment phase, there was supposed to be a computer facility for the kids, but it never got there.
How do you balance development versus displacement in Athens as a commissioner?
Development versus displacement.
So as much as it's getting gentrified and as much as things are changing, how do we preserve what makes, our side of Athens, how do you see those things and how would you change those things?
Well, there are protections for the area. When you look at 5 Points, for example, there's a lot of things that you can't do over there in 5 Points as far as development that is vastly taking place over in District 3. Mm-hmm. So there are protections that can be put in place to protect and preserve the area.
Well, I mean, we've had, Tiffany, Mariah, there's a couple people that have been commissioner. What do you think has kind of hindered that?
You know the old cliche, if you see something, say something. Mm-hmm. Something just needs to be said about what's not being done. When it's just being day-to-day operations with nothing being said about what's not happening for the community, that's the problem. Mm.
Do you think, what do you think other voters that aren't in this district don't understand about the needs as far as what needs to happen there?
What they don't understand is District 3 is just as good as any other district. I know it has a negative, when people say the east side, it's a negative connotation attached because of over the years, people think that it's just drugs, bad people, killing, all that, which is not true. Right. District 3 is better than that, but it just has that bad label attached. Mm. So when you say what don't people understand is they don't understand that real people live in the district, not just that stigmatized label of people.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not all monolith. What if there's anything else that you want to share about your campaign, as far as just what how did you get your team together? Like, what is it like running for commissioner? As far as just your process and what you've been able to get support, who's been able to support you, things like that.
Yes, it's been kind of hard getting the team together, but we're making it. We're making it. That my fabulous team, we're making it. The support is coming. We can use some more support.
Right.
But it is there, and I think we're doing a great job as far as getting the word out and getting the information out to the public. We're doing a great job.
Okay. In the first 90 days, if you were to win, what would you do? What would you present to the commission and mayor?
What would I do? First of all, I would have a town hall, because it's not just me. I would be the face of the community, but it's our community. First you have to find out what the people need and want.
Right.
So once you find out what they need and want, you prioritize that from series to,
right,
and we go from there. Now, as I've always stated, it's not just me, it's us. It's going to take the community to make a change. I can be the voice behind the rail, but they're going to have to help too.
Right. What does that help look like? Just curious.
What does that help look like?
Yeah.
When it's time for a commission meeting, show up at the meetings. Give me your input. If you see something, say something. If there's something going on, let me know. So then, therefore, we can get it addressed before it gets out of hand.
Right. That seems to be the problem now.
Yeah. Just showing up. Just showing up. We're going to have to do this together, not just me. I'm running for commissioner, yes, but I'm running to represent us. Yeah, District 3, the people of District 3, if by voting for me, there are a lot of issues that needs to be addressed. We have infrastructure issues. We have economic development. Oh God.
Okay.
Economic development issues as well. Also, stabilized housing. When I say those things, when I say stabilizing the housing in the community, we have to preserve what we have. Also, infrastructure. I've had the opportunity to talk to a person in Winterville, and they were expressing to me about the infrastructure of the water system down there. And in the charter, everyone is supposed to be on sewer water. So, because he was saying that
They're not septic.
Correct, and not septic. And he was just saying that his wife does hair and she can't do the beauty salon at home because of the septic water, which tends to be a big problem. All the way down to Dunlap Road, they're still dealing with those same issues as well. So in the charter, everybody is supposed to be on the sewer instead of septic and well water. So that's a big issue that needs to be addressed for District 3 as well.
When did the charter ask for that? I'm curious, because that it seems like that's probably like a high important issue, especially on the development side. And they've only been building housing, so it's like, what are our priorities based on profit versus giving people what they need and what the state is requiring of us?
Right. When the city unified, I think it was back in '96. That was a part of the charter that all Clarke County residents would go on sewer water, and it's there. I read it, and but that hasn't happened. So yeah, that needs to happen, because I was in Hallmark, and they definitely need sewer water. I had the opportunity to see the sewer pond that's right behind the homes. That is not right. But they put up a fence between the homes and the pond, but there was a child on the other side of the pond who had gone over to get a turtle that they had thrown the fence. Yeah, and I was like, "Are you serious?" That is a serious issue for not only the children, but for everybody, because you have to breathe in it, and that's not healthy at all.
Right.
So they really need to be on sewer water as well.
It's a major issue. I mean, I wonder what other parts of Athens already have sewer, because it's like 29 years y'all have had this intention. What sides of Athens already has it, and where we at currently? Because if you see, they're redeveloping that bridge downtown. They just finished redeveloping Lexington for as long, and it's still. And I'm not a traffic engineer and designer, but I've worked with some. I've filmed with some before. I don't think Lexington was really the best fix for that area. How they have it now, because I've already seen now it's like 4 or 5, car accidents from people just trying to turn. So like I guess what I'm trying to say is like, there are certain sides that our commission and mayors like wanting to develop. And it's like, so how would you push this initiative for them to make those changes? How does that work for somebody in your position?
How would that work? You have to hold them to what they are supposed to do. So sometimes, just looking at some of the meetings, stuff gets said so fast and voted on so fast to where like, hold on, wait a minute, let's make sure what we're voting on and looking at. So you have to make sure that you hold them to the letter of the law when it comes to your district, because in other districts they get what they want.
Yep.
So what's the difference for District 3? And this is in a lot of what they get is, I'm just gonna say, it's just pretty stuff, changing of lanes and things of that nature.
Yeah, bike lanes. Yeah.
But what District 3 needs is infrastructure, real life stuff that could impact the people's health, babies' health, older people' health, everything.
Right. Do you feel like the government's abandoned those people?
To a certain degree, yes. To a certain degree, by overlooking that when there's funding that has come into the district for that.
Right. What funding? I'm just curious. What
There's been HUD funding, and then we have TAD dollars, tax allocated dollars.
Yep.
That come into the district.
Was there any ARPA money for stuff like that, or I mean, I guess that's not the.
Well, from my understanding, there was ARPA money that was sent to the city, $57 million. That.
Where is it today? There's so many projects. Yeah, they're just not sustainable, and they don't have long-term impact. Yeah, a lot of that funding went there. Went out the window. Sorry, that's what I meant. If you were commissioner with the city manager, how would you traverse that engagement? Because I know for a fact that, yes, the commission votes on stuff, the city manager has to manage it, and he's the one that's kind of reining in, certain operations. So I'm just curious, what if you had to tell, if he was sitting right here, how would you kind of, create that conversation? Or how would you like inform him, hey, this is what needs to be done, or this is how we should be pursuing this?
Right. In all honesty, it's time for y'all to finally do right by District 3. The funding is there. You know what we need. Let's stop playing. It's time to do right by District 3. Right.
No reason not to. I grew up on the east side as well.
Right.
Tuxton Church, right there across from Athens Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, right there on Cooper Road.
Lexington Road.
Yep, Cooper.
Okay.
Yep. So I growing up on the east side, I see where it used to be and where it is now, and it's like, wow, all these college, all these stuff is being built.
Right.
My mom's house still kind of the same. So
right. Yeah, with the student apartments taking precedence over the people that actually live and work here. The students come and go. Right. They come and go. They're not here forever, but you have forever people here that can't even apply, really, for the apartments that are being built. Yeah. Because they're specified for students. Yep. And that is not right.
Right. And it's like, these are the people that work your games, work your downtown community, pick up your trash, core services that make this city what it is. you should nurture that just as much as you're nurturing whatever you feel the profiting part is.
Correct.
You know.
Correct.
I want to know what else about your campaign people need to know. Is there? We've talked about the block. We've talked about the sewage. You know, what are some of the other things? What's going on in District 3?
We need economic development. We need real jobs and real afford. Now, I was talking about stabilizing the housing community, but then a lot of it comes back to affordable housing as well. When we talk about affordable housing, we have to figure out who is the affordable housing for. And when I say that, you may say over in 5 points, and I keep saying 5 points because it's a vast difference.
Right.
$500,000 house could be affordable, but you can't build that same house in District 3, in some areas of District 3, and call it affordable. That doesn't work. So we have to find out what works for each community when you talk about development.
Some commissioners, like right now, they're talking about the data center. And I mean, I've talked about this on previous podcasts, but it's not sustainable. You know, it's not bringing as many jobs. It doesn't make as much money. There's a lot of tax incentives. So when you say economic development, what does that look like? Bringing in businesses or building up businesses? If you were commissioner, how would you approach that?
We would bring in sustainable businesses. As we were talking, the data center is being, hyped up to be bringing in jobs, which is not true, because the jobs that will come in if the data center is passed and built, it'll be just for construction. Right. Once the construction is done, it'll only need 4 to 5, 6 people to man the whole building. So that's not economic development for the district at all. And it's not healthy for the district at all either. It's a lot of disadvantages to the data center coming to the area.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. What other options would you feel would be better to just build up the economic side of District 3? District
3 is a food desert. If we had a viable grocery store to come to the area, that would not only bring in groceries for people who don't have cars, but it'll also bring in sustainable jobs to help uplift the community as well.
Right. You need like a Publix or a Walmart over there. Well,
even the little neighborhood Walmart.
Yeah. Not even the full thing.
Yeah, we don't even need the full one, just enough because everybody doesn't drive.
Right.
Some people walk. So, we need something within walking distance so people can have access to what they need.
Right. The mayor and commission has voted on a lot of things. How would you plan to vote differently compared to other commissioners?
Well, I would plan to vote with my constituents and for my constituents, because that's who it matters to. It's for them. When there's things on the table to be voted upon that, of course, it involves the community. You have to get the community involved. You can't make a decision for the community if they're not involved or have somewhat of the input, because you can't blindly make decisions for people who is going to impact and then later come back be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I made the wrong decision. No, you get them involved. You have a conversation to some degree. Of course, you're the commissioner. Get their opinion, get their input, and make the best vote for the community, not just yourself.
All right. That's respectable. Well, Mrs. Foote, I appreciate you for coming by. It's been a great conversation. I hope that you'll join us again when we do the debates. Is there anything else about your campaign that you just want to leave before you head out and let people know about you and how they can find you, websites, all that good stuff?
Yes. You can find me at www.tammiefoote2026.com. That is my website. If you have any feedback or you would like to communicate, my email is tfoot2026@yahoo.com. You can follow me on my Facebook page, Tammie Foote for District Commissioner 3.
Okay.
And
what else do people need to know about you and who they're voting for if they put you in office?
if you voting for me and putting me in office, you will have a accountable, transparent person of integrity representing you. I'm easy to talk to. I care about the community because the community is me as well. Voting for me, you will not go wrong.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming by.